And welcome to another Cardinals Nest on HBC Channel 25, the sports show here on HBC devoted exclusively to St. Mary's University. Dean Beckman, along with Donny Nadeau, our sports information director at St. Mary's. And Donny, a little bit later on in the program, will be focusing on tennis, primarily women's tennis, as one of the players that we have been talking about for 4 years. And we'll still at least be using her last name for another 4 years or so, is Bailey Edwards, along with her head coach, Jeff Halberg. They'll be in to talk tennis with us.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to have Bailey on because, like you said, we've had her name on for 4 years. She's had an outstanding career at St. Mary's, and really looking forward to having her sit here. And she's a psychology major, and I need to ask her how to get you to stop doing those silly puns that you do. And I'm hoping that maybe she has some tips for me. And then, to get Coach Halberg on, he's a veteran of this show, and talk tennis. And they're having a solid season this year. Conference playoffs are still in the mix for them, so we'll talk a little bit about the expectations of the last couple of weeks.
And by the time she's done psychoanalyzing you, Donnie, there won't be time for me. So, all right, so we'll talk to Bailey and Jeff a little bit later on here on the Cardinals Nest. But first, a recap of the previous week in St. Mary's sports. And Donnie, we begin with softball action. And last week, when we were getting ready to tape the Cardinals Nest, they were on their way to Northfield to take on Carleton College. And since then, they played Carleton and then St. Olaf. They had a game with St. Ben's rained out. And this has been the week of splits for the softball team as they split with Carleton, split with St. Olaf.
Yeah, if you look at the Carleton one, they played so well in the first game. They won 9-0, and then Carleton came back and won the nightcap 5-1. So it was one of those that they played very well in the first game, and then their bats kind of decided to take the second game off. And then you look at the St. Olaf split that just happened on Tuesday, and that they lost the first game and then came back and played much better in the second game. The first game they were up 3-1 heading into the sixth inning, and then it just was one of those seesaw affairs where it ended up tied heading into the eighth inning, and St. Olaf scored 3 runs in the top of the eighth, and then St. Mary's came back and scored 2 in the bottom, and just didn't have enough firepower to get the game 1 win. Came back and got the 3-1 win in the nightcap, which was huge to get a split there. And the Cardinals are playing some good softball right now, and getting some outstanding performances from people that we've talked a lot about this year. And one of those is freshman Alex Rasky. Alex has just been having a phenomenal freshman campaign, and really Alex is one of those players right now that the first game has really been outstanding for her. She's hitting almost 600 in game ones. You look at her game one, she was 2 for 4 against St. Olaf on Tuesday with a home run in that opening game, and is just really kind of the spark plug. She's the leadoff hitter for the Cardinals, and is just kind of the spark that they need, especially offensively right now.
Donnie, concerning Alex Rasky, does she have the potential, do you think, by the time she graduates to be one of the best softball players in the history of St. Mary's? I mean, the way she's starting out, batting right around the 500 mark, and with the kind of power that she's generating, 4 home runs already, she's certainly off to a great start to her career.
Absolutely. Sure, let's put that pressure on her as a freshman. St. Mary's has got such great tradition, so many outstanding players. You look at Jen Guerin, Tisha Smith, Joe Hocking. The way Alex is starting, I wouldn't find it hard to believe if you're putting her with those players. Come her senior year. There are a lot of things that play into that. You've got health is one. She's a catcher, so you're putting a lot of strain on your body. But boy, she can play, and she's as good defensively as she is offensively, and you're putting a lot of pressure on a freshman. But right now she deserves it. She's putting up numbers that are eye-popping. She's one of the top offensive players in the MIAC right now. So it's time for her to continue to keep playing well.
Well, and really, she was the spark that this softball team needed, because entering the season, they had some disappointing news with injuries to their pitching staff, and certainly Kayla Peterson has been doing a great job, but they needed a spark early on in the season to kind of boost their spirits, boost the confidence level, and I think Alex has certainly provided that, along with the great play of Paige Carter, Haley Ohl, but, Alex, a little bit of an unknown coming into the season.
I think 2 things, to talk about your first point there, and you look at when when the season ended last year, one of the biggest concerns that St. Mary's had is they lost the entire left side of their infield in Kelly Simons and Katie Gannon. Katie was the power hitter that they had for 4 years. She played every game at shortstop, and Kelly was she played virtually every game at third base. And so those are two huge positions those were big holes that they had to fill. And I was talking to Coach Miller this morning, and it's like, Michelle Karn, who played right field for them last year, moved into the third base spot this year and is just doing an outstanding job. And Kristen Thalen and Nicole Olson have been sharing time at shortstop and are both doing an outstanding job. I'm not saying they're in the same category as Katie Gannon, because Katie was probably one of the best shortstops that St. Mary's has had, but they're doing a phenomenal job. And Michelle Karn, who 2 years ago wasn't even playing softball, she's a huge cog right now in that playing at third base, and offensively she's doing a great job. So I think that defensively they really are a lot better than maybe people thought they would be because of the losses that they had. In that they're pretty solid defensively. And then to go to you mentioned Paige Carter in center field, outstanding offensive player. Paige has been asked to do a lot this year in that because of injuries, they only have the one pitcher in Kayla Peterson, and Paige has become their number 2 pitcher. And Paige really hasn't pitched since high school. She pitched a couple of games as a freshman, did not pitch last year as a sophomore, and she's been asked to come on and pitch for them this year, and is really doing a great job. And I think Paige is one of those people that you look at her and she's the consummate team player. She's the person that Coach Miller came to and said, Paige, we're going to need you to throw, to pitch. And Paige says, give me the ball and I'll pitch. I watched the games on Tuesday against St. Olaf. She's one of their top hitters. She's one of their top power hitters. Coach Miller needed her to lay down a sacrifice bunt. Power hitter, thinking, hey, I'm going to hit for the fences or whatever. She lays down a sacrifice bunt. Those are the kind of things that really say a lot about Paige and the type of, not only the type of ball player she is, but the type of person she is. She's going to do whatever she needs to do to make the team better. And it's one of those things that to ask her to pitch the way she has and to have her do it as well as she's doing it, it really says a lot about her as an individual. And I know Coach Miller is very lucky to have a person like that who can do so many things for that team.
Now, we saw the upcoming schedule, a few non-conference games left, Donnie, but only 4 teams make the conference tournament, and there's only a couple of weeks left. So where are the Cardinals sitting, and can they continue to split like this and still have hopes for that number 4
spot? Right now they're in the 4 spot. They're 8-6, and they're a game, as you can see there in the standings, they're a game ahead of Augsburg and St. Olaf. And the key is they've already played Augsburg and St. Olaf. They split with both of them, so they keep them behind them. The key for the Cardinals right now is to keep everybody that's below them. And they've got a big weekend coming up this weekend. They've got McAllister on Thursday, and then they're home on Saturday, and then they've got non-conference games on Sunday. So a lot's going to depend on, they just need to continue to keep those teams below them. They've got St. Kate's this weekend, and then a huge weekend next weekend that'll culminate on Sunday when they make up those games against St. Benedict. That'll be a huge doubleheader for them. I know Coach Miller is probably kicking me right now because I'm looking ahead to next Sunday. But right now the importance is Thursday against McAllister. Very big doubleheader. McAllister is such an improved team this year. Last year they won 8 games all year. This year they've already won 16. So they're a much improved team, so they certainly can't afford to look past them. And then they've got St. Kate's to worry about on Saturday. So it's a couple of huge conference games. Then they play non-conference against La Crosse on Sunday. So very busy end of the week for them, and hopefully they can continue to play well.
Yeah. Donnie, as we switch to baseball now, since the show last week, just one doubleheader for the Cardinals, and it was a doubleheader victory. So a 2-game winning streak now for the Cardinals, beating Gustavus 7-6 and 15-4. The bats coming out in both games.
I tell you, it's a huge sweep for the Cardinals. Something really in conference play the Cardinals haven't done since 2008. Coach Winicky was playing for St. Mary's. The conference, we've talked about it so many times, is so difficult. There's so many talented teams. And for the Cardinals to pick up a doubleheader sweep against a talented team like Gustavus in St. Peter is really a huge boost to them. And tip your caps to Teddy Van Ranst. He did it again in that first game, pitching a complete game. He's become the ace of that pitching staff and is doing a phenomenal job. This time was finally rewarded for his outstanding pitching performance by getting the win. And then in the nightcap, the bats came alive in the 6th inning. St. Mary scored 8 runs in the 6th to kind of blow open a pretty close game and complete the sweep. And Coach Winicke's very happy with the way they're playing right now. They're doing everything they need to do. They've just got to continue to get that good pitching to put them in position to win. And Coach Winicke says that all the time. Our pitchers need to get us the opportunity to win. And with the bats that they've got and the way that they're hitting the ball, if the pitchers can keep them in that position, they're going to win a lot of ball games down the stretch.
Yeah, 14 hits in that second game, 12 hits in the first game. Even though they scored fewer runs, they got 7 in that first game. But in that first game, 4 different players with 2 hits and then several others with 1 hit.
And that's the key, Dean, right there is that they're spreading it out. They're not, pitchers can't focus on one person. John Schlemmer is the Cardinals' go-to guy when you talk about the long ball and RBIs and slugging percentage, but they've got so many guys that can put the bat on the ball, put it in play, and make things happen. And that's going to be the secret to their successes is just to continue to make the other team beat you. And if you put the ball in play, funny things happen. So, they've got to continue to get good at bats and continue to swing the bats well. And if they do that, I think we're going to be talking about a lot more wins.
And those players with the 2 hits, it wasn't just the top 4 or 5 guys. Mike Ferenchek, the leadoff hitter, Matt Tesmer, the number 2 hitter, each had 2 hits in that first game. But then it was the 6-7 hitters also with 2 hits. Vince Lulick, Paul Lanasa. So that, really, I think, talks to what you were saying. It's very spread out, not only among players, but within the batting order as well.
Absolutely, no question. And you mentioned the first 2. You talk about Tesmer and Ferenchek. Those are 2 names that last year we didn't talk a lot about because they were, they were playing kind of a spot role for the Cardinals. This year they're asked to step up and really contribute, and both are doing a great job. And it's, we kind of joke about always talking about Bailey when it comes to tennis. Well, it's nice that we've got some guys here on the baseball team that are stepping into roles that maybe they're not used to, but are shining when they're getting the opportunity to play. And it's nice when Coach Winicke can put different people in the lineup and still get that offensive production. And right now, that's the way he is. He's able to pencil people in different parts in the order, in different parts in the lineup in the field, and they're getting the job done. And I think that certainly makes the Cardinals tough for other teams to scout because Coach Winicke's got a lot of different weapons that he can use.
Yep. Well, and a person who is used to this role, driving in runs, Kevin Gannon, in that second game, 4 runs batted in. Pat Krieger chipped in 3 runs batted in. So big days in that second game.
Yeah, and Kevin, 24 RBIs to this stage of the season is pretty impressive. He's got 12 doubles. His slugging percentage is almost .550. So if you're looking for big swings of the bat, Kevin's certainly going to be one of them. And John Schlemmer with his 2 home runs against Viterbo, he leads the team in home runs. And so again, not only do you have people that are going to get the singles and the doubles, but you've got the people that have the power to hit the long ball. And I really like the way this team is set up. And I think that they're very young. They've got a very young squad. The funny thing is you look at somebody we haven't talked about in this whole segment, and that's Kurt Swanson, the starting catcher, who has had a phenomenal career and is having a great senior year. And it's nice that he doesn't have to be the sole guy that they have to lean on. And I think that is making his job that much easier, and really probably why he's playing so well again this year as a senior.
Now, I feel a little bit like Jim Mora, but are playoffs a possibility with the baseball team? Where are things at there?
It's not out of the realm of possibility. You look at the standings there, and you look where St. Mary's is down there at 2-6, but there's a lot of conference baseball left to be played, and the Cardinals are playing right now on Wednesday at St. Olaf, and then they come back and they've got St. John's this weekend in the strikeout prostate cancer day, and then next week they head to McAllister, and so there's a lot of baseball to be played. Hopefully weather will continue to work in their favor so that they don't get games too far backed up and where they've got to play maybe 2 doubleheaders in a 2-day stretch or something like that. If they can continue to keep the schedule the way it is, I wouldn't put it past them, but they certainly have a lot of work ahead of them.
And then finally in this segment, Donnie, before we bring Bailey and Jeff on the show, I want to talk track and field. It was the Norse Relays at Luther College in Decorah, Iowa last weekend. And St. Mary's, a couple of first-place finishes, one on the women's side, one on the men's side in the steeplechase. That's the one where they jump over the water hurdles, essentially, right?
That is, it's great that you said that, because that's exactly what it is, and I think that's how everybody knows what that event is. Yep, they have a big giant hurdle and they jump into a water pit, and Jake Traxler and Katie Stoles both won that event. Jake set the school record in winning it on the guys' side. An interesting event that they compete in there at the Norse Relays, because most of the events are relays, so it's a good chance for Coach McMahon to get an idea of what kind of relays he can put together as he starts to prepare for the MIAC Outdoor Championships, and kind of fun because most of the events are relays rather than your usual 100, 200, and then hurdle type things. It's more geared toward just strictly relays. All of the field people did do their field events. Coco Booker had another showdown with Culp from Hamlin, and unfortunately the Hamlin girl beat her again. Coco finished second in the shot put. So some very solid performances, but again, I think that they're ready for this weekend. They've got the Phil Eston Challenge on Friday, and that's a huge event, more conducive to a regular track meet. And then next weekend is their home SMU Open. I know Coach McMahon's very excited about that. He's actually got a relay going with the 4x100 where all the athletic teams are going to enter a team in that event, and Coach Moore has said that his men's hockey team is going to win that. So the challenge is out there, people that put together a 4x100 and see who the fastest is.
Well, we'll see which team stays in the best shape in the offseason.
That's right, exactly.
All right, stay tuned here to the Cardinals Nest. Coming up next, we'll bring in Bailey Edwards and Jeff Halberg to talk about the women's tennis team right here on HBC.
Hey, Bucky. Hey, that piece on left-handed athletes, is that almost done? Okay, thanks.
Welcome back to the Cardinals Nest here on HBC. Dean Beckman, Donny Nadeau, joined now by Bailey Edwards and Jeff Halberg from the tennis team. Jeff, of course, is coach for both the women's and men's teams, so we'll talk a little bit about the men's team as well. But Bailey and Jeff, thanks for being on the program today. Now, Jeff, you've got to give Donny a hard time because throughout this season, he claims that when it comes to filling out the lineup card, you have the easiest job of all the coaches because you just have to write in Edwards. Now, it's not quite that simple, but Bailey is one of 3 sisters on the team. So for you, it has to be an extremely unique thing to have 3 players all with the last name of Edwards on the team.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had a brother-sister combination. I've had 2 sisters, but 3 sisters, and especially 3 sisters, all in different grades. That's unique. Not only have I never run across it, I've never run across it in any other team either. So it is really a unique setting. But yes, it's a really easy. I have no excuses as far as misspelling.
No, you don't know. Now, Bailey, you were off camera in that first segment and heard us say that we've been talking about you for the last 4 years. Did you do any reflecting at all about when you first came to St. Mary's, and did it ever occur to you back then that maybe at one time, if things play out correctly, that all 3 of you could be on the same team?
I mean, I didn't think all 3 of us were going to be on the team. I knew McKenna wasn't even planning on coming here. She wanted to go far away, somewhere really warm. But it's nice having us. Feels like high school again. So,
yeah. Talk a little bit about playing with your sisters. Obviously, it's got to be a fun thing. I know with 2 boys, they never got to play on the same team, and I know my oldest Andy always said, sure would be nice to be able to play with Joey 1 year. You've got to do it with Killian now for 3, and now this year you're lucky enough to be able to play with McKenna as well. Talk a little bit about playing on a team with your siblings.
Well, we've been practicing together since we were 5, so we know, strengths and weaknesses. We know what, they need to improve on. So it's nice because, I've been hitting with them, so I hit with them at practice, and they know how, what to say what we need to like work on to do better, things like that. So I mean, I'm really happy that we are all on the team, and I do have them to hit with and work with them and everything. So
Now we're going to put you on the spot, and it kind of goes back to what Dean had said. You know, have you had a chance to reflect on your 4 years here, and if so, can you just kind of talk a little bit about maybe the progression from your freshman year now to your senior year, with really a couple weeks left in your collegiate career?
I can't believe these 4 years, they've gone by so fast, but I think from freshman year I never expected to really like break records at all, but I think I've improved a lot as a doubles player and a singles player, but mostly doubles. I never really have played doubles. I've always been playing singles, but and now playing with my sister, we're doing really well, and I'm really happy that we're actually playing together. I think we're ranked 8,
That's right, 8 in
think.
the
So
region,
yeah,
right?
so I never expected that at all. But you know, there are just a couple more weeks left, so we're just gonna. It's like kind of sad, but we're gonna, you know, try to finish out the season hard. So.
And Bailey, you're 11-8 in singles play, 17-3 with your sister McKenna in doubles. Is it a situation, though, even though you were primarily a singles player, now do you look forward to the doubles competition,
I
maybe
do.
even more? Yeah.
No, I do, yeah, because McKenna's a great tennis player, and she's a really good doubles player, so I do look forward to playing with her, because I know we're a good team.
Right.
So.
Okay, Jeff, now you got to help me out here, because first she said break, when really, career-wise, I'd say shatter. And then she says we're doing pretty good in doubles, and 17-3, I'd say that's a little better than pretty good.
That's better than pretty good. Yeah, Bailey, since basically the middle of her junior year, every time she wins a tennis match, she breaks a record. She sets a new record, and that's unheard of. Records, all records in a way are meant to be broken, as you kind of see historically in athletics, but it will take an awful lot for somebody to catch Bailey, because she's just set a completely new standard for the school. And I was really excited for her. Obviously, it's pleasing to hear her talk about really enjoying her doubles and saying that she knows she's a good doubles player, because she's as good a player as she is. She's a pretty humble player in terms of she doesn't strut on the court like she thinks she's going to win every day. We sometimes joke about it, that her opponents are frightened of her, but she's actually sometimes nervous as a cat sometimes walking on a court. And thank goodness her opponents don't realize that sometimes. They're just frightened of her and her forehand and what she can do. So, but her freshman year, she was nervous at the net. She was not a confident doubles player. She knew she had a learning curve to go through. But she has done that, and she is such a good doubles player now. And as her sister and they set each other up so well. They're both such big hitters that their opponents are constantly under pressure, because if you hit a big shot in doubles, that net player has the freedom to close and volley. Well, freshman year, it was kind of a hit or miss situation for her. It was, we had our good days and our bad days, but now she's just money at the net. She sticks the ball away, and they've beaten some. I mean, they're undefeated in the MIAC. They are the best doubles team in the MIAC, including Gustavus, Carleton. They're the best, and that just says volumes about what they brought on court this year.
That's got to feel pretty good when Jeff says it, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you are the best team in the conference right now. Does that drive you at all in terms of, you want to
Every time McKenna and I walk on the court, before we start playing, we're like, we're not going to lose. We can't lose. Like, that just like pumps us up even more.
Now we talk about records, and I mean, it is amazing when you think about your 4-year career. You've got over 50 singles wins and over 50 doubles wins. I mean, that's unheard of, like you said, Jeff. But one of your records fell, and it fell to your sister. Now she is the single season record holder in singles wins. If you had to lose that title, kind of nice to lose it to your sister.
Yes. Yeah.
If you had to lose it.
Yeah, if I had to.
We'll check with her at the Thanksgiving table next year.
Yeah, it was funny. Yesterday we had another little interview, and she's like, I plan on breaking all those records. So, but I mean, it is nice that she'll, I know she'll be able to do that.
Jeff, you do have other players on the team not named Edwards, so let's talk about some of those. Abby Voigt has had a very nice season, too.
She has. She has. Abby, both as a player, as a leader, she has really stepped forward. She and Bailey are co-captains. They have a really good relationship because they both have very different personalities, but they also are friends, and so I think they know each other's strengths and weaknesses and know how to kind of help the team in different ways. So that's been really helpful, and it's been great to see Abby really coming into her own in her own game as well. She's always had an awful lot of talent. But she didn't have quite the upbringing and the amount of time put in as Bailey did in her tennis career, so she had a little more catching up to do in terms of playing at the collegiate level. But, I mean, she's been spectacular. I mean, they had a chance to play together a little bit last year in doubles and did really well together near the end of the season. But she's done a great job in her singles. She's a confident doubles player, great at the net. Has a huge backhand. I mean, all her teammates, they dread getting into a backhand exchange with her because it's just a bomb. And so she's really been able to step forward and be a leader on and off the court, and it's just really nice to see it because, I mean, the depth of our team her freshman year, she hardly got a sniff of the lineup her freshman year, and it was, and obviously the team was strong, but I always knew she had the talent to really make a statement, and she really has done a great job.
And as we take a look at the women's season a little bit here, 10-9 on the year, but a few of those could have gone the other way as you had a couple of 5-4 losses in there. So really you've had an outstanding season up to this point here.
Yeah, I mean, it's typical MIAC kind of competition. We've had we had really good competition non-conference this year. I think Bailey would probably agree with me that non-conference was probably our most difficult season in terms of competition. We had some very strong non-conference teams to play. But then, of course, the conference itself is always a bear. It's very difficult. And going into these last couple of weeks here, we have a chance to make the conference tournament. We still got to work ahead of us, but we know we have the ability to do it too. So we'll put it on the court.
As one of the co-captains, as one of the leaders, how do you approach the last 2 weeks, and how do you approach it with your team? What can you do to make sure that, as Jeff said, you've got 2 weeks that are very important now? How do you make sure everybody's ready to go?
Well, we just, at practice, always working hard, making sure everyone is getting in what they need, working on what they need to improve on, just making sure everyone is getting ready. So.
And one last time on the spot, we talk, and if you've ever watched the show, we talk a lot about Senior Day. Yours is Sunday against McAllister. It'll be, your final home match. Talk a little bit about how you'll approach that match, because it certainly will be an emotional time.
Yeah, wow, I can't believe it's already Senior Day. But, I mean, I'm just going to go in, just play hard. I mean, it is going to be my last home match, but I'm not done with tennis. I'm still going to continue playing, so it's just going to be like every other match. My family's going to be there. They're always there and supporting me, so it's going to be, it's going to be a great day.
Jeff, real quick, just a minute left. I want to touch on the men's team. I think you have had a really nice men's season, 9-9 on the season, and the play of Michael Lunka, Bobby Steingraber in doubles play. They're 17-1. I mean, you talk about the Edwards sisters on the women's side. Their play has been just as impressive on the men's side.
Absolutely. Yeah, the only loss they took was to the #1 team from Gustavus, who are literally one of the best teams in the entire country. Mike and Bobby are ranked, and frankly, I thought they should have been ranked sooner than they did. But the committee finally realized, hey, we missed these guys, but they did it all themselves. The level that they played at, the adversity that they faced, they've held off match points in a couple of different matches. Come from behind 5 times out of those 17 wins. And come from behind in an 8-game pro set is not easy because you have so little time to make adjustments. They've just done a super job, and I'm very proud of them.
All right, thanks for being on the show today, and thanks to you for watching the Cardinals Nest here on HBC.